Wow, hey, we're here. So, welcome everybody. As I look out, I'm also reminded of the beautiful place we're in, and this afternoon, and on behalf of the University of Queensland, I acknowledge the traditional owners and their custodianship of the lands on which UQ operates and on which this ceremony is being held this afternoon. We pay our respects to their elders and their descendants who continue cultural and spiritual connections to this place, this country and the Greater Brisbane area, and we recognise their contribution to not just this area but to Australia and indeed the world. This afternoon I welcome all of you to the Cultural Sashing Ceremony. Lifts my heart to say that. For graduates of the University of Queensland for the forthcoming graduation ceremonies this week, I acknowledge the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Peter Høj, members of the University of Queensland staff, current students, community members or family members that are here to support the graduates, and most important of all, the graduates who are here to partake in this ceremony this afternoon. I make special mention this afternoon that we're holding this ceremony because students requested the ceremony and discussed this with staff of the Aboriginal and Torres Studies Unit, and we together believed and acted as this was something that was really important to do. There did used to be ceremonies, and I acknowledge that too. I acknowledge the history of the past that there were ceremonies, but for a period of time there hasn't been. And this is something we now seek to revive and offer to students now ahead of the graduation ceremonies that take place on campus. And I will say that this time, this event is kind of it's not a practice because these students are graduating this week, but in a sense it's a practice for us in terms of the Cultural Sashing Ceremony to iron out any little things that come up during this ceremony for future times at the end of the year when we may have community members here too. And I would love to be able to later on to be inviting elders from this region, traditional owners and community members from further afield, and also people from the universities, from your faculties, to witness the graduates receive their sash. So that's what this afternoon's also about for us too, as a group of staff together. This is something that, as I've said, has come from students, and I'm really pleased to say that as the Pro-Vice-Chancellor. That's another thing that we're acting on and trying to get right and trying to revive and re-energise part of the whole Aboriginal and Torres Strait space here at University of Queensland, and for me that's really exciting. And lastly, enjoy yourself and please cheer on the graduates as they receive their sashes this afternoon. All right, please cheer on people, do whatever you need to do, whistle, cheer, clap, stamp your feet, do whatever, because they've earned it. All of them have earned it, well and truly. I now turn to the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Peter Høj, and invite him to the podium to address the gathering.
Thank you so much, Bronwyn. It's great to have you as Pro-Vice-Chancellor here. I too would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land upon which we gather and meet, and we pay our respects to elders past and present. So welcome to all of you, all the people who Bronwyn mentioned. It's great to have you here. So as Bronwyn has said, this sashing ceremony for our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander graduates is a tradition that has been revived at UQ this year. It's something that took place, I don't know when, hasn't been whilst I've been here, but I think it is very important and something that we should be doing. And I hope that it becomes a much loved tradition that will continue from now on. Let me first begin by, of course, offering my sincere congratulations to all our graduates here today. It takes a lot of hard work, commitment and sacrifice to earn a university degree, so well done. And you'll hear me say that again when you actually are at the main graduation this week. I would also like to welcome your family and friends who have no doubt supported you during this journey. When I mentioned my hopes for the start of a sashing ceremony tradition, I'm mindful, of course, that tradition is a relative term. While UQ has existed in southeast Queensland for just over a century, 109 years to be precise, this is a very small amount of time compared to the vast lineage of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander educators who had already developed Indigenous systems of knowledge and learning on these lands, as we now know, for some 65,000 years. Last week's NIDOC celebrations, for example, drew attention to the active and significant roles that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women have played and continue to play as educators at the community, local, state and national levels. As leaders, politicians, doctors, teachers, nurses, sporting icons and in many other guises, they work for greater opportunities for our children, our families, and for both Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples. Universities have historically not seen enough of Australia's Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples gaining the privilege of attaining graduate status. While I acknowledge that the task of lifting Indigenous participation and celebrating Indigenous excellence is still a work in progress, UQ is making some progress, but of course I acknowledge that it is a bit late. Later this year, we will launch our first Reconciliation Action Plan, providing us with a framework for building respectful relationships between Aboriginal, Torres Strait Islander and non-Indigenous peoples. It's been a privilege for me to serve as the co-chair of the committee that developed the plan, and I look forward to seeing the realisation of these goals, and so does the other co-chair, Auntie Kajikaga, I'm absolutely certain. As an institution, we have come a long way since our first Aboriginal graduate, Margaret Valadian, graduated in 1966. We have now graduated approximately 900 Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander graduates who have created change in many great fields. People such as the human rights lawyer Megan Davis, the first Indigenous Australian to sit on a United Nations body, and she's also UNSW's first Pro-Vice-Chancellor Indigenous, singer-songwriter Kev Carmody, whom we have acknowledged lately, author and activist Jackie Hawkins, doctor and health expert Noel Heyman, sportswoman Talisha Harton, who I'm told played in the inaugural Women's State of Origin and recently signed with the Broncos, and of course many, many others. But I do acknowledge that there's much more to do. Indigenous Australians are now estimated to represent 3.3% of the total Australian population, whereas in 2017, only 1.1% of our domestic students identified as being Aboriginal and of Torres Strait or of Torres Strait Islander descent. So there is a huge gap to close, and in the coming years we will pursue a range of strategies to ensure that both high achievement and inclusivity are encouraged and recognised, but this of course requires a whole of society response to succeed from pre-birth through early childhood, schooling and university. Nevertheless, we have experienced considerable growth in the progression and success of our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students. The number completing their degree has more than doubled in recent years, from just 35 in 2012 to 82 in 2017. And I thank all the people who have helped make that happen. So I'm very pleased to have this opportunity to celebrate your achievements today ahead of your graduation ceremonies this week. I'm looking forward to speaking with as many of you as possible this afternoon to hear about your time here and your plans for the future. Thank you to you for choosing to come to UQ. We value enormously the contributions you made. By being part of our community and by sharing your knowledge, experiences and perspectives during your studies, you have enriched the intellectual and cultural experience of university life for your fellow students, for our staff, and the wider community interacting with UQ. Your influence will continue to be felt as you now turn to become outstanding graduates. At your graduation ceremony this week, you will hear that your connection with UQ doesn't have to end here. There are many opportunities for you to stay connected and to partner with us, and I sincerely hope that you can do so. Building strong relationships between Aboriginal, Torres Strait Island and non-Indigenous Australians is important to UQ. It's through partnerships such as these that we can build and expand the body of knowledge for creating change to advance ideas that benefit the world. Again, on behalf of everyone at UQ, congratulations. We are in awe of you and very proud of you. Thank you.
So it is, thank you, Professor Høj. It is with great pride that I will read the names of the graduates this afternoon. And I say to the graduates, I hope that in your reflections, not just of the sashing ceremony or as you are about to graduate this week, that you remember how you started your studies. Because this week, there's a whole lot of new people on campus for O Week, probably feeling exactly how you were a couple of years ago. And how you feel now as you're about to graduate, as confident young people in your disciplines and your areas, but probably also a bit nervous about what's to come next. Remember that your degree is part of your journey. It is not your destination, and it is the gateway to what you can do and what you will do in the future. It gives so many more of you options and so many choices. Be proud of your achievements at the University of Queensland. Remember that as you graduate and join Margaret Valadian, as Professor Høj said, the first Aboriginal graduate of the University of Queensland, and the 900 other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander graduates who have graduated from this university after her. The reason we know why Professor Megan Davis and some of the other graduates of note, and also graduates who possibly lesser known, is because they are also part of the alumni of the university, and I encourage people to maintain close links with the alumni office after you do graduate. You also join with the thousands of others, myself included, Dr. Chelsea Bond down there and many others, Condi Canudu, other people here in the room who have degrees across this country that contribute not only to Australia but indeed knowledge to the world in terms of fields, disciplines, areas, roles and arenas, and Professor Høj mentioned some of those. You are part of all of this, and this is what I also find exciting and inspiring about the future, and about what I'm excited for in terms of your futures and the futures of the generations to come. Because it is through your legacies and the legacies you will develop that also will inspire and challenge the next generation and those that come after you, just as we talk about Margaret Valadian today, Professor Megan Davis and the other people's work before us too. Hold your heads up high as new graduates, taking on the world and exploring the new unknown. I'm now going to read each name individually. Please come forward as individuals as I call your name, and the Vice-Chancellor will present each of you with your sash one by one. We will take some photos during the process, but also photos at the end. Are you ready, graduates?
Yes.
Yes? And is everyone else ready to cheer, clap and yell? Because we're ready to go. Get excited, folks. So the first one I'm going to call is Brenna Bernardo. Come on, Brenna. Berardino. Brenna's family name is Nona, and she's from Vadu Island.
don't know how to do this.
Oh, that's okay. Me either.
Just stand there for a moment, Brenna. Brenna is graduating with a Master of Public Health. She started her University of journey here at University of Queensland, enrolling in the Masters, and she was also fortunate to do a UQ summer and winter research program here at UQ. She set up the UQ Stories for Reconciliation Book Club and recently hosted a book swap, raising $700 for the Indigenous Literacy Foundation. Upon graduation, Brenna will start an internship with Griffith University and tutor the next round of public health students and work with the Post Centre for Indigenous Health before locating to the USA, to Arizona, which is pretty exciting, but we will see her back here from time to time, won't we, Brenna?
Yes.
Congratulations, Brenna.
Did you take photos?
He's got photos.
It's all done?
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Brenna.
That's okay.
Come back, right?
The next person is Matthew Compton. Matthew is graduating with a Bachelor of Business Management in International Business. Matthew is a Wiradjuri man from Cowra but was raised on Bundjalung country. Having begun his career as a well-known Australian technology entrepreneur, Bevan Slattery, and he went on to work with several data and machine learning startups in Sydney. Before co-founding, wait for this, two of his own technology businesses in the same space. He is currently co-founder and Chief Operations Officer at Really, a startup that uses machine learning to provide early detection of neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's and other diseases. So congratulations, Matthew. Connor, we might have to give Connor a little bit of time to come up. Connor is from the Anawan mob, but was born on Kamilaroi country near Tamworth. He's on a constant journey of building his connections to his cultural heritage and his history and identity. He is the current president of Guri Birimpa Student Association at UQ and very active in the role. His plans have been hit a bit of a road bump with the moon boot, which set him back from participating in the National Indigenous Student Games, and he hopes to finish his honours thesis in semester 1 next year, and then go on to do his PhD. Congratulations, Connie. I need some water. Ainsley Thompson. Ainsley is a Gurang woman from Bundaberg.
How are you?
Thank you.
Sorry,
Yeah. Ainsley completed her degree at the end of last year but deferred her graduation ceremony as she was overseas. Fantastic. It's great to see people travelling as well. Good on you. And Ainsley has been working at Serviceton South State School in Inala as a classroom teacher for Year 4s. Congratulations, Ainsley. Okay. I'm going to thank you.
This.
I'm just going to sit down at the moment because I'm finding the podium a bit high. Kate Thompson. Also a Gurang woman from Bundaberg and currently working at the Brisbane Aboriginal and Torres Strait Health Service as a foster and kinship care worker. And Kate also graduated last year in December and deferred her graduation also due to international travel. Good on you, hey? And prior to completing university, Kate's goal was to work in community controlled health service, so good on you for achieving your goal, Kate. I'm really proud of you for that. It's good to see that people are working in community controlled health sector. And Kate hopes to gain further skills and gain experience in working across the organisation. Congratulations, Kate. Tamara Whiting. Now Tamara's got an interesting story. She's completed a Bachelor of Arts, Psychology major and Criminology minor, and is a Baron. I'm not sure if I can get this right because I haven't had time to practice it.
Do you want me to say it?
Yes. Barragungam, woman from the Chinchilla region, and started her own business with her mum, a non-for-profit organisation doing community development and mental health support. So fantastic, another person doing some sort of community control, community-based work. So well done. Congratulations, Tamara. Now, the next person I know was pretty nervous about today. And is she here? Because I hope she hasn't chickened out. Lee. Is a Torres woman from the Kamilaroi mob from Baraba in country New South Wales, and Lee is graduating with a Masters of Public Health, majoring in Indigenous Health. She also started an undergraduate degree in Health Sciences with UQ Ipswich campus when it was under when the campus was under Ipswich, and we acknowledge that. Lee was lucky enough also to be awarded a winter scholarship to work with Dr. Chelsea Bond, and Lee is now looking for and applying for jobs and looking for research work in chronic disease in that area, because her dad has cancer and type 2 diabetes, and her brother also passed away from heart disease. So we really hope that you find something that you're really looking for, Lee, that's going to help other people with chronic diseases, because we know that's a real issue. Congratulations, Lee. The next person is Riley O'Connor Horrell. And Riley is graduating with a Master of Speech Pathology Studies.
Thank you.
She is from the Gubbi Gubbi Nation. And people who don't know where Gubbi Gubbi is, it's just to the north of Brisbane. Riley has a Bachelor of Arts in Modern Asian Studies and a Bachelor of International Business. And there's something that I want to say about Riley too, is that she's explored an area that we don't see too many Aboriginal Torres Strait people in. And that also breaks the mould. So for us, it's fantastic to see Aboriginal Torres Strait people, yes, working in the Indigenous field specifically, but we also do need Aboriginal Torres Strait people to be pushing out into other areas and making new grounds and new tracks. And we see you doing that, Riley. Riley has a love of languages and has been teaching English as a second language for 16 years. And she's been moving into new areas and new areas of learning as well. So congratulations, Riley. Is Craig here at all?
Yes.
Oh, Craig's here. Craig's from the Barramanka people of what is also known as the Darug Nation. And people might not know that area, but it's one of the oldest settled areas by the British, known as Parramatta today. His family traced their heritage back to Margaret Goldspeak, which I found very interesting, Craig, because Margaret was one of the first stolen generation placed in a native institution in Parramatta in 1821, and very well known. So part of that link to that original settler history or invasionary history of the Sydney Cove area. Craig has worked as a police officer and a police prosecutor in Sydney before becoming a lawyer. Craig is presently working as a Principal Legal Officer for the Queensland Police Service, and his plans are to continue to work with Queensland Government in legal, policy and executive capacity. He has reached senior management levels with government and will use his skills to keep improving and working with Indigenous people and to ensure the advancement of Indigenous issues. And he graduates with a Master of Law. Congratulations. So that concludes that part of the event in terms of witnessing and celebrating all of the students to receive their sashes. There will be other students who are graduating through the week, so look out for them who couldn't be here this afternoon. So once again, please give applause to all of the graduates for this afternoon. That concludes this formal part of the afternoon, so I now invite people please the graduates to come up to get some photographs collectively, but also for other people to get some photos if you want, but to also partake in afternoon tea. Thank you.
It's not an easy journey they've been on, and they serve as examples for others, including the 400 students we now have on campus of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander descent. So these numbers are growing, and we hope to grow them much further. So this is a great tradition to start, to celebrate what is really quite a magnificent achievement by these students.
That's some great numbers that you said there. 900 graduates over the 109 years of the University of Queensland. You must be proud as the current...
I'm very proud of it. I'm more proud about our recent development, whereby we will get to about 80 a year this year. We also had that last year. And the interest is so great. And the students are performing really, really well. So I think they will be able to go out and say to many of their friends and families, you know, you can do it. And that's when we really know that we succeeded, when people who've been with us say, I enjoyed it, I can now do something I couldn't do before, and you should do it too. Those numbers hopefully will build and build and build.
And finally, end of the year, the wrap. You must be excited with the launch of the Reconciliation Action Plan.
I'm excited that we've gotten this far, but the real excitement I'll reserve till we see that it really makes a difference.
Yeah, it is a new chapter. It's sort of been a bit of a delayed process. I was originally intended to graduate at the end of last year and had to delay it a little bit because had to defer my exams last semester and go overseas for a little bit for a study tour. So yeah, it's been a little bit of a wait, but it's been worth it, and yeah, today's been really special. Just looking forward to going forward in the next couple of years and meeting all my aspirations and goals.
I was very, very excited. I can't believe that I made it. I started this degree about a year and a half ago, and I feel like it's just gone by so quickly, so I'm glad that it's come to this point. The plan now is to actually stay here at the university and do some work, research assistant work, and then I'll pick up an internship on the Gold Coast, and then I'll move to America.